Hey vinyl community, hey new wavers, it's Shad with Vinyl New Wave. Welcome to this week's edition of Recent Vinyl Finds. Over the past couple weeks I've had some pretty good luck in digging. I went to, a couple weeks ago on Sunday, I went to a flea market, the urban flea market, and picked up a few records there. And then made some purchases from a guy on from the local online classifieds. He had a bunch of stuff in his garage that he was trying to get rid of, and then made some scores at a local record store. So I'm just going to quickly run through these and show them to you. Hopefully not take too long. First up is U2's Wide Awake in America EP. This has one of my all-time favorite U2 songs, which is the live version of Bad. I never had this album before, this EP before. It was I just never find a decent copy of it. You know, they were usually all like beat up and trashed. This one's not perfect. It's got a little pop and crack here and there, but it's in good enough condition to listen to, and maybe I might be able to clean it up a little bit better than I did already. So U2's Wide Awake in America. The next one, the other one that I picked up at the flea market is Peter Wolf's Come As You Are. Now I remember this being like a new wave song back in the day, but maybe that's not the case. Peter Wolf is part of the J. Jaws band. He's a little more rock, but for some reason I just remember the song "Come As You Are" being a little more pop, you know, new wave kind of a sound. So I picked this up. It was cheap. It was like $4 or $5, and so this is in excellent shape. So I'm glad to pick that one up. The next batch I got from a guy on the online classifieds. He had a couple ads, you know, where he was trying to sell like 120 80s records for $300 and or 300 80s records for $120 or something like that, and I just kind of passed over him because but then like the next week he just said, come and get records 50 cents a piece. So I texted him and he said, yeah, come over and you can go through what I had. So I went over to his place, and you know, he had a lot of like the 90s breakbeat stuff, and a lot of, you know, hip hop kind of stuff, but he said that he had a whole bunch of stuff, 80s stuff too. So I was like, all right, I'll come take a look and see what you have. So I kind of went through. So I went over there, and he bought all these records from a store that went out of business a number of years ago here, who apparently got most of their stock from another record store that went out of business in the 90s. And he just had them in his garage. They were in pretty rough. A lot of these are in pretty rough shape. I haven't had a chance to listen to any of them yet, so we'll see. But you know, for 50 cents a piece, it was worth, you know, the $5 to get the few that I did. So first one I picked up was Boy George, When Will You Learn? It's a Boy George single from 99. Interesting. So Boy George, When Will You Learn? Next up is Revenge, Slave Number 2. Revenge is the band that Peter Hook from New Order formed after he left New Order. They had a couple songs. This has got a little bit of water damage on the sleeve, and the record's not that great a shape, but like I said, for 50 cents. Next up was Madonna's True Blue album. Same, it's just kind of beat up, but it still has the inner sleeve. The record is, it's it's been worn, so we'll have to see how that plays. Next up, Art of Noise with Max Headroom, Paranomia, the 12-inch single. There's no inner sleeve on this one. The vinyl's pretty dirty. Got a lot of surface scratches on it, so I'm not sure how it's going to play. Next up is Con-Can, Move to Move. So a good tune from Con-Can. This one actually looks to be in okay condition. Next up was a Human League 12-inch, Life on Your Own. A great but underrated Human League song. And the vinyl on this one actually looks to be pretty decent shape too. It's dirty, a couple surface scratches, but I'm pretty sure that one will play all right. Then Madonna, Erotica 12-inch single. I don't know if this one's going to play. It's pretty beat up. There's some pretty major scratches on it. I don't know if you can make those out or whatever, but there's some pretty major scratches on that one. So I also got a couple others from him that I just wanted to rescue for one reason or another. This Real Life God Tonight, I already have it, but it was in decent shape. I figured that would make, the cover's not in the great shape, but I figured that would make some good VCLT. And also the Communards self-titled album. I already have this album as well, but this one actually had the inner sleeve, and my copy did not. So I got this so I could get the inner sleeve, and then this will go also out on a VCLT sometime. Next up, some finds from a local record store or two. This one, Polakakis, Boom Boom, some Italia Disco. It's a great tune. Guy says it's about going up to his room to have a talk. Boom, 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 let's go back to my room. So he can do it all night. And then finally, these were all from another record store here locally. These records honestly have been on his shelf for over a year, most of them. He had them priced just ridiculously high, and so no one was buying them. I mean, there's stuff in those shelves that I want, but I would never buy because he just had them priced way too high. But he dropped the price on a bunch of these old 80s 12 inches, so I picked some of them up. This is a band called The Adult Net, and my intent is actually to do a video on these guys. They're actually really quite good, very much a jangle pop kind of sound. Clem Burke from Blondie is in this band. So, yeah, The Adult Net, Edie. This was on Beggars Banquet Records. Then the 12-inch single for So Strange from C'est Tu J'avoue, a nice German synth pop band. Then the 12-inch single for Suspicious Minds from Fine Young Cannibals. It also has a remix of Johnny Come Home on here. And so, yeah, that was a good pickup. And then A Flock of Seagulls. Who's That Girl? To be honest, I'm not sure if I can think of the tune of this song. But then this is a limited edition red vinyl pressing that has on the B side a medley of all of their hits. So on the sleeve, it actually has like Who's That Girl, a bunch of remixes, but then there's a sticker that says on the B side is a hits medley, and the hits medley has all of the Flock of Seagull hits. So Iran, Telecommunication, Nightmares, Wishing I Had a Photograph of You, and Space Age Love Song. So that I felt was well worth $6. And then the 12-inch single for Torture by King. This is the last 12-inch single by King that I needed to get. I have pretty much every single and album that these guys released now. I'll probably maybe do a video on those guys at some point. And then Modern English, I Melt With You. This is a 12-inch single from, this was like a late 80s re-release of this 12-inch, if I remember correctly. So I picked that up. It's still in the shrink wrap. It's in pretty good shape. So I was pretty happy to get that one. And then Paul Young, I'm going to Tear Your Playhouse Down. 12-inch single, the special remix, and then a couple B-sides. So that one is also still in the shrink. So glad to get that one. And then finally, the pièce de résistance, the one that I actually was shocked and happy to find, is the Hawaiian Pups Split Second Precision. This is a great little EP. I remember kind of vaguely hearing this back in the 80s, but then there's a couple local guys that do kind of a podcast that they play music from back in the day. One of the guys used to be DJ on local radio here, and so he goes back in and he plays all those old songs. And he played this on that podcast, played this song called Baby Judy. I think it was the one that he played. Might have been the Young Boys, but he played it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And I was like, oh, I gotta get that if I can ever find it. I put it on my want list, and then earlier this week I was down at the record store flipping through, and lo and behold, he had the Hawaiian Pups. So I picked this one up. So that is a stack of recent releases, or recent pickups. I also have a few in the mail on their way here. I'm excited about a video that I'm going to make here in the next month or two. A couple of those records are on their way. Yeah, I wanted to get this video out today because Sunday evening I am flying out to Charlotte, North Carolina for work. I'll be there until Thursday. I fly home Thursday morning. So hopefully I can make it out to Noble Records to check out that store, that new store, and of course I'll make it to Lunchbox because my office is like just 5 minutes away from Lunchbox. So I'm excited to kind of head back out to Charlotte for a few days, and so next weekend I'll have another video for you. But until then, happy Halloween. And of course, if you liked any of the records that I've shown, please thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, remember, you spin me round like a record, baby.